This is Ben Wheeler in Brooklyn, New York. I am going to talk about how to solve a Rubik's Cube. This is a Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube that I really like using is not actually an official Rubik's Cube. It is made by a Chinese company called Dian, and I really like the Dian Zhanqi, and I'll show you a little bit of what it looks like and why it's unique. So if you look up close, you see that the corners are kind of shaved off. And what that means is that even when the alignment is just a little off, you can twist and it'll just sort of correct and snap back into place. And so that means that you can do a lot of really fast moving and manipulating. It makes it so much more pleasant than a standard Rubik's Cube. So these are about $10, $11 on Amazon, or they have their own website. I'm going to show you more about the Rubik's Cube and tell you about some of the features of it. If you look closely at a Rubik's Cube and think about how it's structured inside, there's a lot of different pieces that move and that change their orientation, but there are also some that don't. And if you think about it, the pieces in the middle of each side that oppose each other, those ones can rotate, but they never change their position relative to each other. So on a standard Rubik's Cube, and the Dian ones copy the way that Rubik's Cubes are laid out in terms of color, you'll have yellow on the opposite side of white. And no matter what you do to this, no matter how you twist it and turn it, yellow is always going to be opposite of white. Same thing with blue and green and red and orange. So that means that you're going to have situations where you're dealing with like corner pieces that have red and green in common, but you're not going to have corner pieces that have red and orange in common. There's just not going to be any corners that meet those two. So that's just something to observe. Another thing to observe is that rotating and turning these pieces always keeps corner pieces in the corners and middle pieces, or sort of middle side pieces, in the middle of the side, and center pieces in the center. That's not something that you can ever change. So there's going to be a lot of times working on these Rubik's Cubes when you've got a particular piece and you want to move it somewhere else. And just sort of keep in mind that corner pieces can be sort of moved so that they take the place of other corner pieces. But really, as far as the corner pieces are concerned, the only other pieces that are kind of competing with them are other corner pieces. The middle side pieces will be sort of switching places and changing with other middle side pieces. So the first step is to make a yellow cross. Stage one is make a yellow cross. So what does that mean? Making a yellow cross means finding the yellow centerpiece. So look all around. Here's the yellow centerpiece. And we're going to make these and these all yellow. So they'll be sort of like a yellow plus. This step, there's no real like shortcut to doing this. There's no trick to doing it. You just have to find the pieces that could be there, like this piece, and realize, that piece, it's got to be up on top. How can I do something to make it up on top? So in this case, you can sort of rotate it down and then rotate it up the other way. So this is something where it might make sense just to play around with the Rubik's Cube and try to get the hang of making this yellow cross yourself. One thing that comes up is I already have a yellow middle piece up here and I want this one to come up, but if I do this, that works for this piece, but now I've moved this piece out of place. Here it is on the side, and that's not going to work, right? So sometimes what you have to do is you have to say, well, I want this to move up here, but I don't want it to take the place of this one. So what if I move this one out of the way? Now this will take the place of this white one. That's fine. So I'm going to continue doing that with some other of these side pieces. Make a yellow cross. Here's the yellow piece on the bottom. You have to sort of hunt around to find some of these pieces. And everybody should be able to make a yellow cross. It's not going to happen quite as quickly as it did with me, because I've done this so many times before, but that's worth spending a little bit of time with. Next thing to notice is that each of these yellow side pieces has a color. We have yellow and red, yellow and orange, yellow and blue, yellow and green. And of course, there's not going to be two yellow and green side pieces because really there's only one piece that belongs in that place in the finished cube. So if I turn this top, different side pieces here come into contact with the center pieces. Blue and green don't quite match. That doesn't match. That matches. So you want to get a match and then see if any of these other ones match. All right, so look, I've got the blues, the blue middle and the blue center, the yellow middle and, sorry, the orange middle and the orange center. But these red and green ones don't quite match. So think for a second about how can I get this piece to get somehow over here and this piece to get somehow over here, because then I'd have the yellow and red matching with the red center, and I'd have the yellow and green matching with the green center. Again, here, there's no sort of big trick to how to do this. It's something where you might want to spend some time trying to figure out how to do this on your own. If I go like that and like that, now I'm sort of losing my cross completely. In this kind of situation, if you want to switch one of these centers with another one way to think about it is that you can rotate it all around. Now this piece is saying, hey, wait, I'm supposed to be on the top with my friends. And you say, okay, you're going to be up on the top with your friends in just one sec. I'm just going to have you trade places with this one. I'm going to have you come over so that you're right under this one. And now look, these two greens match up. They're just on the wrong side. They should be on the top. If I move them to the top, that's good. But now this one is saying, wait, I belong on the top. And then we just bring it back over where the green one came from. And again, you can notice even before we do this move, it's going to work because we have yellow and red touching the red in the center. And that makes the cross on top with the correct colors on all those sides. So that is stage 2 of our solution method. Match the yellow middles to the center. Next is stage 3, the yellow corners. So this is the first time that it gets a little bit complicated. And we're going to need to talk about a couple different ideas to do this. One idea is the sense that if you have the cube sort of facing you with a side in front, a top, a right, a left, a down side, I call it, or a bottom, and a back. I tend to use D, sort of a down, because it has a different letter than back at the beginning of it. Then we could refer to all these sides using just a single letter. F, front, T, top, R, right, L, left, D, down, B, back. And then we can come up with sequences of letters or even stories that's each word starts with a particular letter to help us remember sequences to do. So if I said, lucky favorite raccoon, lucky, all right, the left side, rotate that. Favorite, the front, rotate that. Raccoon, rotate that. Those are going to be very useful for us. They're called mnemonic devices, sentences or stories that help you remember a sequence for later. Some people at this point say, wait a minute, is that cheating? I think that's a really good question. Is it cheating to use a memorized device to do a sequence of steps if you're trying to solve something like a Rubik's Cube? Well, I think you could definitely spend a long time with a Rubik's Cube without hearing anybody else's thoughts on it and figure out how to solve it yourself. And there could be a lot of fun and a lot of value in that. And it's not the only valid way to solve a Rubik's Cube and get a lot out of that experience and learn from it. Just the same way that when I was in school, I learned things like long division and times tables, where I learned that tool before I really understood enough to be able to invent that tool myself. But even though I didn't invent long division, I think it's totally valid if I'm trying to solve a cool math puzzle to use long division. Even though I didn't invent it, I understand it because I can see how the steps in long division end up making sense and end up manipulating numbers in a way that helps me. It's sort of like a tool in my belt. I didn't invent Phillips screwdrivers. I didn't invent hammers and nails, but I can use them. I can understand how they're useful. And by using them, I can learn more about how they work. So I think by using these mnemonic devices, these little stories, you'll understand more about how a Rubik's Cube works and have a lot of fun. And I think it's absolutely not cheating. So with that said, plus it's not going to be easy. So when I was sort of talking about some of these ways of doing things, I messed up my cube. I did that on purpose because messing up your cube is something that's totally going to happen. There's going to be some of these steps that get confusing and go wrong. It doesn't mean that you're totally sunk and everything's messed up hopelessly. Every bit of work that you've done solving a Rubik's Cube is still sort of there in the orientation of the cubes relative to each other, the squares relative to each other. So all you have to do is start at the beginning, and you'll find that you can get back to the step you were at very quickly. So start by making a cross. Okay, so I've got this side. There, I've got two of the pieces. Here's another one. I'll put that one up here. And where's my oh, I got it, even not expecting to. And look, I didn't even have to do the step of lining these colors up because it was already in that relative position. So you end up getting lucky in a lot of ways. So stage 3 is called yellow corners. So I need to get each corner to be the right yellow piece, but it doesn't just need to have yellow on the top. This piece is going to need to have what color on this side? Red. It's going to need to be a red corner piece with yellow on top, red there, and blue here to match the blue center. So I need to find the piece that has yellow, red, and blue. Luckily, I have that piece right down here. It's not always going to be under where it's supposed to be. Sometimes it'll be like over here, and you'll say, yellow, red, and blue. Yellow, red, and blue. This yellow, red, and blue piece needs to come over here. You want to get the piece under where it's supposed to go. So once it's under where it's supposed to go, turn the cube so that the yellow side is either on the left, or if it's like a piece that's on the right, we'll turn it so it's on the right. But you want to turn the cube so that the yellow side is on the side and the other color is in front. Our mnemonic device for when the yellow side is on the left is lions devour lobsters. So lions, la, starts with L. So we're going to rotate the left side. We're going to rotate it clockwise. So lions, clockwise, just one turn. Devour, D is the bottom, down. So we're going to rotate that clockwise. Now lobsters. So this is the first time that we're going to do a counterclockwise turn. Lobsters has a B in the middle. So a B in the middle of a word is going to be a little reminder that we want to do it backwards, counterclockwise, not clockwise. So lions was clockwise. Devour, no B in it, so we did clockwise. Lobsters, we're going to turn the left side counterclockwise. Left side, counterclockwise. Look what happened. We've got our yellow, red, and blue corner in the right place. Here we've got an orange, blue, and yellow piece. So we're going to turn that. Let's see, where's the orange and blue side? Here they go. Blue on this side, orange on this side. So I've got this orange, blue, and yellow piece right under where it needs to go, but this time it's on the right side. So I'm going to turn it to the right. And my mnemonic for the right side is rabbits double as rats, right? Because if you have a rabbit and it runs across the street, all of a sudden you might think, a rat. Rabbits double as rats, all right? Rabbits, so that's the right side, R, but counterclockwise because there's a B in the middle. Rabbits. Rabbits. So see how that was counterclockwise? And just to make sure everyone knows what I mean by clockwise and counterclockwise, if you're turning the right side, imagine that you're facing the right side. A clock would turn like this. That's clockwise. Counterclockwise is the opposite way from what a clock would do. So rabbits is going to be right side, counterclockwise. Rabbits. Double down, counterclockwise. So imagine you're down here. A clock would turn like this. So we're going to turn counterclockwise. Rabbits double as rats are. No B in it, so I'm going to do clockwise. Imagine I'm here. Clock would turn like this, so I'm going to turn it clockwise. All right, I got my corner there. So here's another corner, green, orange, and yellow. I'm going to turn till I find the green side and the orange side. It's on the right side, so rabbits, not clockwise, but counterclockwise. Double, not clockwise, but counterclockwise. As rats, right side clockwise. All right, last corner is going to be what colors? Green and red with yellow on top. So where's that green, red, and yellow corner? Here it is. So I'm going to bring it over to where it needs to go. It's on the right side again, so we've had a bunch of right sides. Every time you do a Rubik's Cube, it's going to have different combinations of sides. So rabbits, double as rats, is my mnemonic for the right side. Rabbits, counterclockwise right side. Double, counterclockwise bottom, as rats, right side clockwise. Boom. Look at that beautiful top layer. Whole top layer is done. So we're like a third of the way through, more than a third. Okay, just to remind, when the yellow's on the left side, lions devour lobsters. The right side, rabbits double as rats. It's not something that you're going to memorize and know offhand right away. These are things that I write down and I refer to, and then the 10th time that I use it, I start to remember and start to make up sort of little stories about like, wait, why do lions devour lobsters? Are these lions that live near the ocean? Are these lions that we've run out of lion food and we're giving them just like anything, even if it's not something that lions traditionally eat? Do lions like lobsters? Do they hate lobsters? It helps to have a little bit of a story to help you remember these things. Okay, so let's look at the next step. We had lions devour lobsters and rabbits double as rats. That was stage 3. Stage 4, we're going to get the middle sides to be right. We have a really fun mnemonic for this one. So first I'm going to show you what I mean by getting the middle sides right, and then I'll tell you about the mnemonic. Here is a middle side that's already there. This one we just got lucky. Blue and orange are in the right place. That happens sometimes. Things are just in the right place. They don't need to be changed. Here's one that's not right. White and red. This should be blue and red, right? So down here, we're going to have some sides that have white on them. Keep in mind that yellow and white are always going to be on opposite sides. So anything with white is going to have to get down here. And anything without white, like say this orange and green, is going to have to find its way where it belongs. That's going to belong right here. The mnemonic device for this one, my backstory for this is that there's a woman named Debbie, and she came up with a great company name. She wants to make amazing dog food that dogs are going to love, and she wants to sort of experiment and make really cool new kinds of dog food. She has a Labrador Retriever, a lab for short. That's a kind of dog. Awesome dogs. There's kind of yellow labs, they call them. They're sort of light brown, and black labs, both beautiful dogs. So her company is called Debbie's Lab. It's a double meaning. It's her lab dog, and she has like a lab where she invents these different dog foods. So her slogan is dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. Dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. Okay, so let's do that. What you do is you find a middle piece that's not in the right place. That's on this kind of white side, but shouldn't be. And you turn it so that the top color matches and the bottom color is the one that you need to jump up and to the left. So we're going to have it like this. This piece, we want to move here. The orange side already matches. The green side needs to be there. All right. Dogs, downside clockwise. Love, left side clockwise. Debbie's, downside counterclockwise. Labs, left side counterclockwise. Double, downside counterclockwise. Fabulous, front side counterclockwise. Dog, downside clockwise. Food, front side clockwise. There's our piece in the right place. All right, let's do it again. So here's green and red. Dogs, love, Debbie's, labs, double, fabulous, dog, food. There's our piece. All right, what else? We got blue and red. So I'm glad that we have this one, because you notice the problem here is that blue and red are not matched up here. If we did it now, this piece would go here, but with red on the left side and blue here. Not quite right. Could we do it from here? Well, there's a whole different sequence that we could do, but if we did it from here, it would jump up here and take the place of this piece. So here's what we actually do. We're gonna, on purpose, put it in the wrong place, because putting it there and then doing it again is gonna take it out and switch it around. So this is the right piece for here, but it's not in the right rotation. We wish blue was down here and red was up here. So we're gonna do it. It's gonna go there and it's gonna be backwards, but there's a plan. Here we go. Dogs love Debbie's Labs double fabulous dog food. Dogs love Debbie's Labs double fabulous dog food. I did that a little faster. Part of the beauty of these Dion Rubik's Cubes is they can go so fast like that. I love it. Okay, so like I said, this one's backwards. That's okay. We're going to do it again, and we're going to put the wrong one in there, but when this comes out, it's going to be turned right. Dogs love Debbie's Labs double fabulous dog food. Wrong piece is in there, but check it out. If I rotate this bottom, now we have red on the top, blue on the bottom. So now we can do Dogs love Debbie's Labs double fabulous dog food. And the piece is right. So that can take a couple times, but if you just remember that you have that tool in your belt. If the piece is rotated wrong, well, if you move it up there and then move it out again, it rotates so that you can put it in correctly. A lot of the time, there'll be another sides piece that's in there. And so if you find a piece that's rotated, that's ready, and do it, it'll displace that piece, and then that piece can go in the next side and go in the next side. So you might have to do it a bunch of times, but if you just keep doing Dogs Love Debbie's Labs double fabulous dog food with a piece here that you want to move up here, it'll all work out. So now we're about 2/3 done. Here we flip it, and now we're going to focus on this side. We're sort of done with having yellow on top. We're going to have white on top now. And you can see the white side's a little bit of a mess, but we're going to get it there. Next stage is making a white cross on top. So our fun mnemonic now is, it's all about how fleas love kind of fuzzy and furry things. Fleas take refuge. They like find places to hide. In tabbies, tabby is a kind of cat. Rabbits are very furry. And fabric, also kind of fuzzy. Fleas take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. So where do we use that? How do we use that? Well, if you look on the top, you see we want to make a white cross. And we have a little bit of a white cross so far. There's a piece here and a piece here. So when you flip it over, you're going to find either you might have no white cross pieces, just the center. The center will always be there. You might have one here and one here, making a line. You might have two that are sort of next to each other here. If you have two that are next to each other here, that's sweet. You're almost done. All you have to do is turn it so that it looks like a clock that says 9 o'clock. Here's like the hour hand or the minute hand at the 12 and the hour hand at the 9. See that says 9 o'clock? This one's vertical, this one's horizontal. If it's anything else, you're going to just do this fleas take refuge mnemonic and try to get it to where it's like this. And if you just do it a couple times in different ways, it'll get there. So the mnemonic is fleas take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. Fleas, front. Take, top. Refuge, right. All these are clockwise so far. Now these are going to be counterclockwise. In tabbies, top counterclockwise. Rabbits, right side counterclockwise. And fabric, front side counterclockwise. All right, got the white cross. Might take a couple times to get to that 9 o'clock, and you need to turn it so that the clock is in the right position for 9 o'clock, and then you'll be able to get it in one step using this fleas take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. Okay, we've got the white cross. Now, the white corner locations need to switch. And we're going to do a really fun, this is maybe my favorite mnemonic. So if you notice, if you turn so that the corners line up as best as you can with the right colors. So here's like red and blue. This corner's in the right place. It's not rotated right. I wish I could sort of turn it, but red side, blue side, white side. This corner does belong here. This one, not so much. Orange is good, but really it should be over here with the green side, right? This one should be over here where green and red meet. So you might have to turn it a little bit, but try to make it so that two of the corners are at least in the right place. So like, what if I turn this way? All right, now I've got green and red. Oh, that one's actually rotated right. And I've got orange and green. That one's rotated right also. This one's not rotated right. Like I wish white was on top, but red and blue. Oop, actually, I wish this was orange. This one, I wish this was red. So these two corners are in the right place, and they happen to also be rotated right, but they could have like the red side on top. These ones are in the right position at least, not the right rotation, but they shouldn't be like this one should be here. These ones should be where they are. These ones should switch though. So that's great. We have a way to make them switch. So you hold the cube so that the two ones that you want to switch are on the right side. One's in the front and one's in the back. We want to switch these two. So this mnemonic, the backstory is that a big library system had a great idea. They're going to get these robots that are going to help sort books. They're going to be like library assistants, awesome robots. The robots were not very well made. They turned evil. They electric shock people, and the librarians try to stop them, and they just shock the librarians. So there's a kind of electric shock thing called a taser. That's what the robots end up doing. It's not intentional, but they're tasing the librarians. It's so rude to do that to librarians, don't you think? Well, I hope you'll agree with me that little terrible robots tase librarians. Terribly rude. That's the mnemonic. Little, terrible robots tase librarians. Terribly rude. All right. Now, it doesn't look like it's working that well, right? Everything's sort of all mixed up. But let's do our rotation. Start this step the same way that we started before, where we're looking for the sides that match up. Here's red and blue. That should be over here with red and blue. Green and red is right. Yellow, orange and green is right. Blue and orange is right. So now all the corners are at least in the right position. I wish they were rotated differently. So that worked. And notice that even though it looked a little confusing when we were done with that step, we had to do some rotation just like we did at the beginning of the step. So you might have to do switching corners a couple times. Anytime you want to switch the position of two corners, you get those two corners on the right side, and you do little terrible robots tase librarians. Terribly rude. Okay. Now, here comes the most complicated step. Rotation. So if you look at a given corner like this, if you could rotate this clockwise, how many turns would it take to get the white side to be on top? Well, if you turned this clockwise once, the white side would go over here, the blue side would go over here, the red side would go over there. That'd be pretty sweet. You wouldn't be done with the Rubik's Cube though, right? You would need to rotate it twice. Once to get white here, once to get white up on top. So this is going to require 2 rotations. What about this corner? 1, 2. It's going to require 2 clockwise rotations. This one, also 2 rotations. This one, 0 rotations. Okay, so this is actually going to be one of the easier setups, because the rotation step is going to rotate the back left corner, the back right corner, the front right corner, and do nothing to the front left corner. So the one you don't want to change goes here in the front left. The ones you want to change are the back, the right, the front. So this mnemonic it's someone who got a present and they're unwrapping the present and they're so excited about it. They're feeling like under the wrapping, and they're so excited because they love bathrobes. They love terry cloth bathrobes. Do you know that kind of like really soft terry cloth? They love it. And they're feeling the present and they realize it's 2 bathrobes. It's a bathrobe for them and for their brother. And they say, oh, are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. All right, they feel the texture. They're so excited. So they're going to say, are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. So notice textured and terry cloth are each just 1 clockwise rotation of the top. So let's see, what did that do? It put my corners all out of position, right? This one shouldn't be here, but that's okay. We just turn them till they're in the right position. Now I've got my green, orange, white corner. I've got my green, red, white corner. So now these corners are right. I just had to do a little turning to get them back. So now how many rotations do my corners need? This needs 1. This needs 1. This needs 1. Okay. So where do I want to rotate it? This one I don't want to change. So that one goes in the front left, back right, and front right. These 3 will rotate. And then I should be done, at least with this stage. Are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. That's the mnemonic. Are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. I did that a little faster to show how fast it can go. So I'm going to, on purpose, do that a couple more times and mess up the top just to show what you do. So are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. And what if I do this? Are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. All right. So now if I turn the corners back so they're in the right position. So now this is a kind of situation you'll often find yourself in. So I on purpose kind of did that a couple more times to mess it up, just to show you what's like a realistic situation. So you have to count the number of turns this will take. This will take 2 rotations, 1 rotation, 1 rotation, 2 rotations. So these 2 I'm figuring out will take 2 rotations. These 2 will take 1 rotation. It's going to take a couple of rotations to get everything going. I really want just like 3 that need 1 rotation or need 2 rotations and not to have another one in the mix as well. That might not be so easy. So in this situation, you've got to sort of strategize. Maybe if I leave this that just needs 1 in place and I do these ones, maybe I'll get myself in a better situation. Let's try it. Are they robes? They are textured terry cloth robes. Rotate it to get it back. Oops. Okay. All right. Well, maybe this is in good shape. This needs 1. This needs 1. This needs 1. Okay. So sometimes you just need to like try something, get it a little bit better. What if you make a mistake here? Let's try. Are they robes? What if I mess this up and I do it clockwise, not counterclockwise? They are textured terry cloth robes. What have I done? This is a situation that I've been in many times. You will be in it too. You just start over. And don't worry, it's not going to take forever to get it back. First stage, yellow cross. Yeah, got my yellow cross. Got the sides to match. All right, my sides match. Corners. These corners are okay. This corner. Oh yeah, this is a kind of corner situation we didn't talk about before when the yellow's on the bottom. When the yellow's on the bottom, just do some fiddling around to get the yellow off the bottom. One way you can do that is rotate the side and rotate this corner 2 times and put it back. Now, see, the yellow's on the right. I'm not going to tell you exactly like always do this way to get it off the bottom. That's the kind of thing that just try messing around with it a little bit. If you mess up your cross, that's okay. Just make the cross again till you get the yellow on the right or the yellow on the left. Okay, so what's our mnemonic for the yellow being on the right? Rabbits double as rats. Rabbits double as rats. Oh, I totally had the wrong side in place. That's okay. I'm going to bring the right one into place. This is orange, green, and yellow. Mistakes are not something to regret. They're just part of having fun and exploring. Rabbits double as rats. Rabbits double as rats. All right. I need this corner now, the blue, orange, yellow corner. Where's that one? Here it is. So let's see. Bring it over here. So I can use my left side. Lions devour lobsters. Lions devour lobsters. These lions devour lobsters and rabbits double as rats, once you get the hang of them, you don't really need the mnemonic. It's just 3 steps. So what I have come to do when I'm solving the puzzles, which is part of why I have to like glance at the mnemonic for these ones. I don't use the mnemonic for this step anymore. You can sort of see that it makes sense. I need to get this corner to go here. So I bring that corner down so that that corner can slide over and then they can go back home. So I find that the more I do these mnemonics, the more I start to intuitively understand what's going on and get a feel for what might be right and might be wrong. Okay, I need the blue and orange one to go here. Let's see. Blue and orange is over here, but it's the wrong color. That's okay. I'm going to do, right, dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. Put it in there. I'll do it again with the wrong piece. Dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. I put the wrong piece in there on purpose because now I have the blue and orange piece, right? Dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. Okay, so now I have only this piece missing. Here it is. Orange matches up. Dogs love Debbie's Labs, double fabulous dog food. Okay, these middle pieces are right. Get my white cross at least in 9 o'clock. And then I can say, please take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. I've got my white cross. Let's see. I need to switch some sides here for sure. These ones are right. This is right, at least in the right position, not the right rotation, but these need to switch location. So I need my little terrible robots tase librarians. Terribly rude. All right. Got the corners in the right place. And now I need to do some rotation. This needs 1 rotation, 1 rotation, 1 rotation. All right, that's not so bad. Are they robes? They are. Textured terry cloth robes. All right, so I messed it up on purpose to show you, even though it took me a little while to get back, I was sort of explaining things along the way. It didn't take me anywhere near as long as to get there the first time. So I noticed that this side is all orange. So I'm going to turn that to be with its orange friends. Sweet, this side's all orange. This is all white. Not all green, not all red, not all blue. But if I hold it with the finished side on the left, I can do my last mnemonic. So this mnemonic is the longest one. Railroad trains full of bubbles are really fabulous because trains really rock. Railroad trains full of bubbles are really fabulous because trains really rock. You hold the finished side on the left. Railroad trains full of bubbles. This is the first time we've done the back. We're going to do back counterclockwise. Bubbles. So imagine if you're standing back here and looking here, you'd watch a clock tick this way, right? That's clockwise. So bubbles, we need to turn it counterclockwise. Railroad trains full of bubbles are even though it doesn't start with R, it sounds like the letter R. Really fabulous. Because, backside clockwise, trains really rock. And we're finished. Sometimes that's going to have to be done a couple times. Each time that you're doing that railroad trains, it's trading places between these three side pieces. So sometimes that has to happen twice. I think it shouldn't have to happen all together more than 3 times. If none of them is in the right place, then just turn it however, do it, and one of them will be in the right place. So I can provide the link in the chat to my write-up of this list, or you can write it down yourself. One of the original sources is this How to Cube article. It's fun to read. If you just do these different stages, you can figure it out. You can get it done. You will definitely make mistakes, but it's not about doing the whole thing perfectly and getting it super, super fast. It's just about having fun and feeling like you learn and are manipulating the Rubik's Cube in a way that like starts to feel not just like something totally meaningless, but starts to feel like you get a sense of like, oh, right, when I rotate this entire side, everything goes together. If I change something and move it back, well, all these didn't change, but these ones did. That's the kind of thing that I find really fun about doing the Rubik's Cube. It's without having to like study it necessarily, like, like taking a class in it, just sort of sitting there and doing it. I feel like my mind starts to think in 3 dimensions a little more. And I find myself anticipating where a piece might be, just in like a little way. Even if I couldn't tell you that with words, it feels right to me. Things start to feel right. And that's part of what is fun about learning anything for me. So as like a final thing, I'm just going to do a little timed cubing and see if I can solve this with a clock with a little bit of pressure. It doesn't take that many times to get that many like twists to really shuffle things up. You will find pieces that, are still together, but there are always going to be pieces that are still together, even in a like completely 100% shuffled cube. So, don't be like, oh, it's not really random. It's like playing cards and there's 3 jacks in a row. It doesn't mean that somebody didn't shuffle. There's always going to be 3 of something in a row at some point. So let's set a timer. And I've got a little Google stopwatch ready to go. And let's do it. Okay. Get my yellow middle. Okay, 2 of the yellow pieces are already there. Again, it's not because I didn't shuffle enough. There's just going to be some things that are there and some things that take way longer than they did before. Okay, got my yellow cross in place. Now I need corners. I need to get these sides right. So here's my oranges, green and red. Got 2 of them. These ones need to switch. Just switching their places. Great. Blue and orange. All right. I want to get some corners. This one is red and blue. It needs to go here. Got to get it to come up. There we go. Now it's on the right. Oops, I totally got lost. I thought this was my red side, and it's not. Here's my red side. Red and green. Oh, all right. I got all confused. That's going to happen. Always going to make some mistakes. That's part of the fun of being like, wait, what happened? How did I get into this situation? How do I get myself out of it? And part of what I love about Rubik's Cube is it's always fixable. The only thing that's not fixable is if someone takes your cube and secretly rearranges some of the sides, like some of them have stickers, you rearrange some stickers, that can really mess somebody up and confuse them for a long time. Okay, I've got my corners. I'm going to do a side here. Let's see if I have one that's ready to go. Here's red and blue. So these stages I've got just down to like muscle memory, where I don't really have to use the mnemonics. And that speeds me up quite a bit. All right. Where's my blue? Okay. This one's got a switch. So I just have to get it out of there first. And now it's ready to go. Okay, got the middles. Got a straight line here. So fleas take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. 9 o'clock. Fleas take refuge in tabbies, rabbits, and fabric. Got my white cross. Where do these need to go? That's right. That's not right. Neither is that. Okay. So what needs to happen here? These are right. These need to switch. Okay, I need to switch these sides. So, terrible robots tase librarians. Terribly rude. Haha. Look how lucky I got there. That's just totally luck. All right, how am I doing for time? Just under 3 minutes. Pretty good. So you're going to get lucky sometimes. Maybe that one wasn't quite shuffled enough. Probably it was. And just some of those pieces didn't happen to need that extra manipulation. It does often take a minute or two to work through the rotating corners. That's kind of the toughest part. And don't give up. If you're not sure what to do, just turn it some way and rotate some corners, and it'll probably work out. So I really look forward to getting any questions. You can chime in on the Facebook page. Again, that's Ignition SEQ. I am trying to find out what kinds of things people want to learn. What things do people want to hear about, and how can I be helpful? That's really my goal. So come check it out, Ignition SEQ on Facebook. Let me know any questions. My venture is called Ignition Sequence, and it is an attempt to help educators, parents, teachers, children, anybody interested in learning and in sparking innovation and creativity to know how to begin doing that kind of work, how to begin exploring those things, what resources are out there, what books are great, what ideas are worth pursuing and trying out. This is something where everyone knows that technology is going to be increasingly important, and nobody really knows what that means for children. We're trying out new versions of it, but it's something that we're all kind of exploring together. And so instead of us doing that independently and not knowing what's working for other people, I really want to get people together to share what's working, to share what is sparking passion and excitement and enabling creativity, not just instructing and rote knowledge and what kinds of toys, what kinds of games, what kinds of stories, what kinds of activities work to bring together that kind of technological and science and math exploration with the social elements, family elements, classroom elements that really work socially and work interpersonally and enable children to have more power and more ability to express themselves. That's the real vision with this.